Hi, I'm Hayden Crawford from Numerologist.com, and today I'm going to be revealing how to use your ruling colour influences to overcome your biggest challenges in life. As a teacher of Pythagorean Numerology, I'm really passionate about how your ruling number or your life path number can really affect and influence your life as a whole. It's insanely accurate, and each one of those numbers carries its own unique colour vibrations, which can really help you identify not only the traits that may be holding you back, but also how you can identify patterns or beliefs that may be preventing you from being the best version of yourself. Well, first of all, to work out your ruling number, it's really very easy. All you have to do is just calculate and add up all of the numbers in your birth date. So say, for example, for me, I was born on October the 16th, 1972. So all I would do is just add all of those numbers up and it comes to a 27. Now what you do then is just add the 2 and the 7 together. So in my case, I'm a life path or a ruling number 9. So do it for yourself now and just work out exactly what ruling number you are. Now remember, always reduce it down to the lowest possible denominator, aside from if yours totals a number 10, you just leave it as a 10, it's not a 1, a number 11, or a number 22-4. Now this is Pythagorean numerology, okay? And there are other forms of numerology out there. Okay, so have you worked out your ruling number or your life path number? Great. Okay, so if you are a ruling number 2, then you are represented by this beautiful bottle here. It's called the Moon in the colour mirrors system, and it is pale blue over a royal blue at the bottom. Now, number 2 is the first number on the emotional plane, as we know, and it represents not only partnerships, because the 2 like to be in a partnership, but also intuition and sensitivity. It's a feminine number, and it kind of relates as well to Mother Mary. Now, for you, it will represent cycles, speaking authentically, so speaking words from your heart, but also it represents anything that's dealing with, you know, compassion and this real heightened sensitivity and intuition. So you can utilize these beautiful colors to be able to harness that intuition, to enhance it, and to be able to help you express what you're trying to say in the best possible way so it's understood loud and clear. Are you a ruling number 3? Well, if you are, you're represented by this bottle here, which is called Jupiter, and it's coral over coral in the colour mirror system. Now, ruling 3 people have got far more important things to do with their life purpose than to just do the normal humdrum day job thing. They are inspiring, they want expansion, they're very imaginative as well, and quite analytical too. Remember, 3 sits on the mental plane. It's the first number on the mental plane. So they've often got very active imaginations. Now, coral is the colour of the new Christ ray, which combines pink unconditional love with yellow, which is joy. And the two together help you understand that you are a Christed human here on the planet, leading a very human experience. So for anyone who has a ruling 3, they can utilize these beautiful color coral combination to be able to not only accept themselves finally for who they are, and also relieve themselves of any self-doubt. It's a really fantastic bottle for self-acceptance and self-worth. So if you're a ruling 3, bring a bit of coral into your life. Are you a ruling 4? Well, if you are, you're represented by this bottle here in the colour mirror system. It's actually called Uranus, and it is obviously the 4 is the second number on the physical plane, 1 being the first. It's very, very deep green underneath with yellow on top. Now, Uranus is all about change and choices and letting go of things that no longer serve you. So it could be letting go of old patterns, old behaviors, old beliefs, old people, old places in your life. They want change. They want to bring about change to processes that aren't really in alignment with the golden age of Aquarius. Remember, 4 is a very practical number. It's very material. So ruling 4s often feel like they want structure in their lives and they want foundations. Well, a lot of the time we build things up only to have to let them go if they're no longer serving us. So with these colours, you can actually learn to let go of things that are in no longer resonance with your higher self and your higher being. For all you ruling number 5 people out there, this is your bottle. It's known as Mercury in the colour mirrors system, and it's a beautiful green over green. Now, we know Mercury is very fluid, it's very flowing, and it has a lot of movement. Well, so does the planet Mercury. The people who are ruling 5s feel things so intensely. It's so important for them not to feel constricted. They need freedom. Freedom is tantamount to them feeling good, but they've got to learn to let go of old masks and be truly honest with themselves about what they want. They need freedom both creatively and physically. So the 5 really helps to open up the heart chakra so that you can actually feel that sense of freedom within the soul. It's a beautiful bottle as well for being able to assist you in any form of emotional imbalances, because remember that the 5 sits in the center of the emotional plane. So it'll help you transcend anything that's with relation to envy or jealousy, these green colors, and away from conditional love and move forward into more unconditional love that the 6 presents. Hey, what about all you ruling 6s out there? I bet you can't wait to see what colour influences you've got. Well, there you go. This is your bottle. It's Venus in the colour mirrors system, bottle number 6, and it's pink over pink. Unconditional love. Venus is the planet of love. It's all about relationships. It's about having love in relationships. But the lesson in this really is that external love only really comes when you learn to love yourself first. So once you've mastered that, you notice that all the right relationships start flowing into your life with ease and grace, and they're really great. Number 6 is about the home, and it's also about creativity. 6 is the second number that sits on the mental plane, but it's a very creative, nurturing energy, almost like quite motherly. So treat yourself to some of your own nurturing energy, and you'll be well on the right track to self-improvement. If you're a ruling number 7, then this one is your bottle. It's called Neptune, the Roman god of the sea, in the colour mirrors system, and it's pale turquoise over turquoise. Now, trust is imperative for ruling 7s, okay? Because a lot of the time they have to learn to sacrifice things in their life that no longer serve them. The 7, as you know, is the teacher. So Neptune is all about mysteries, illusion, and faith, having trust in the process of life. It's very easy for you, being so compassionate, to be able to listen to the burdens and problems of other people. But when it comes to you sharing what's going on for you, you tend to carry all those burdens alone. So trust is important, opening up and trusting the process of life, trusting in yourself and trusting in other people, utilizing these beautiful turquoise shades to be able to harness that energy. You're an amazing teacher, and you're here on the planet to guide humanity forward. You do like to explore the deeper mysteries behind life as well, but you need to learn through your own experiences, sometimes your own mistakes. So what about all you ruling 8s out there? Well, this one is your bottle. It's Saturn in the colour mirrors system, and it's pale violet over violet. Now, ruling 8 people tend to be very independent, organised, and they like to be in control. And they recognise that the new needs to be built on very solid foundations. But they do need to let go of any self-judgment or, not being able to accept gifts in their life, because they're always giving. They're very nurturing people, but they need to learn to accept those as well. Now, any restrictions that are placed upon them, they need to look at the deeper meaning behind that so they can understand them and transcend them. Number 8 sits at the active end of the emotional plane. So again, it is a very emotional number. They are very, very nurturing people, the ruling 8s, and this beautiful depth of wisdom, this ancient wisdom that sits in the violet, is there to remind them that they can actually harness their intuitive powers to be able to learn the lessons that they need from all situations. So, as I mentioned before, I'm a ruling 9, and anyone else who's a ruling 9 out there, these are your colours too. This one is Mars in the colour mirrors system, and it is beautiful orange and red on top. They're actually my favourite colours. Powerful, warlike, very ambitious as well, and quite idealistic. The ruling 9s represent the right lobe of the brain, so it sits on the mental plane as well. It's very important for ruling 9s to say what needs to be said at the time it needs to be said, instead of restricting that and getting frustrated and angry. So these colours will help you let go of the anger that sits behind scenarios and events that aren't dealt with at the proper time and in the proper way. Now, ruling 9 is a humanitarian. They're an amazing healer or psychiatrist, and they like to help people. So they need to learn to help themselves first and make sure that they're not putting their own needs last. And that way they can do all this amazing work on the planet. Do we have any ruling 10s out there? We do? Okay, well this one is your bottle. This one's called the Wheel of Fortune, and it is gold over olive green. Now, unlike the other bottles, it doesn't carry a planetary influence, but it does have a meaning from traditional tarot. The Wheel of Fortune is about times changing. Now, this one is a very soft, feminine power that can't be misused, because the gold represents authentic power and wisdom, and then the green is very feminine as well. It's about new beginnings. So this is actually Egyptian influences in there as well. So it harnesses a lot of adaptability. Remember, the 10 is very adaptable. It's very wise, likes to lead as well, because the 1 is the leader. The 10s tend to prefer to keep their own emotional side to themselves and rather prefer not to share it with other people. So some of their relationships can unfortunately remain a little bit superficial. But the lesson really for this one is to recognize your own authentic power and wisdom that's really been transcended over the egoic power, so that you can step up into a position of leadership. Remember, you're very adaptable, and you've got a lot of compassion as well. So harness these colours and become the best version of yourself. The master number, ruling 11s. Now, you're represented by this bottle, which is called Duality in the colour mirrors system, and it's very deep magenta on top, almost looks black with clear underneath. Now, as I mentioned before, ruling 11 is a master number, so ruling 11s have a spiritual purpose in life, and they're here to guide humanity forward in some way. So they're very sensitive, clairvoyant, and quite intuitive actually. Now, for a lot of ruling 11s, they have to deal with decision making, so they find it quite challenging because of the two opposing elements. They don't know whether they go left or right, black or white, Arthur or Martha. They really have a bit of a challenge coming to the correct decisions for themselves. Now, the best thing that they can do is not get diverted from their higher purpose of leading humanity forward, because there are two very distinct types of ruling 11. You get the ones which maybe don't live up to their full potential. So the deep magenta in the conscious mind represents the acknowledgement of your connection to the divine. So once that you accept that you are a part of the divine, that there is no separation, it helps you deal with that whole notion of separation, that there really is none. So it enables you to go forth and do God's work fundamentally. So yeah, ruling 11s, it's not for the faint-hearted, this number. It's quite a challenging life path number, but definitely worth it in the end when you get the results. And finally, if you're a ruling number 22-4, you're another master number, and you're represented by this bottle in the colour mirrors system. It's called forgiveness, and it is magenta with a deep magenta on top. For a lot of ruling 22 fours, they need to let go of any guilt. Okay, it's time to let that go. Forgive yourself and forgive God. Hand it over to a higher power that is divinely intelligent and can guide you along the way, because you might get called upon during this lifetime for spiritual leadership or mentorship. So really acknowledging that you can be guided by a force much higher and much more developed and aware than you, you then move away from feeling guilty about any of the choices that you make, so that you're not carrying that around with you. Remember 22, that very highly intuitive, it's a double 2. Remember the 2 is intuition and sensitivity. They can be very clairvoyant, these people. And the magenta is the master builder, really. It sits in the red corporate blended with the violet spiritual world. So it means that the God's work can be done on the planet, and it'll actually get done brick by brick, stage by stage, so that things can actually physically manifest and the changes can take place for everybody's highest good. Okay, so that's it for me today. I'll be back next week with some more colourful insights. I hope you enjoyed listening to this today, and I'd like you just to maybe leave a few comments below with what your ruling number is and how you found the influences of the colours helpful to you, and how are you going to be able to actually use those colours moving forward in your life. Bye for now.